It is a question burning a hole in the Orlando Magic this preseason. Is this offense for real? For real? We're about to find out, and they keep telling us that maybe it is today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is October 13th, 2025. My name is Phil Rossrank. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, we're going to talk about the Magic's offense. It has been the talk of the preseason. Is this new look, fast-paced offense going to work for the Magic? So far in the preseason, it has been. We're going to get to that coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day. Be one of our Orlando Magic dailies. That means you're listening Monday through Friday and on the weekends when we post. Check it out, subscribe, get it in your inbox whenever we upload an episode. It's all part of Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Let's start here. It's the preseason. I don't know how many times I need to warn this or say this or preface everything I say when I cover these games and talk about these games. It's the preseason. Lineups are weird. Paolo Banchero and Desmond Bane did not play in Sunday's game against the Miami Heat. Neither did Norman Powell. Neither did Bam Adebayo. Lineups are different. Stats are different. Players are working on themselves as much as they're working on integrating with the team. You expect certain mistakes to happen. What you're looking for are hints of how the thing comes together. You're looking for hints of how the pieces of this puzzle ultimately mesh and fit together. And that is not always easy to see. You can't quite trust all the stats. We're going to have some fun with preseason stats in this episode. But I want to preface that. I want to preface that by saying you can't always trust the stats. But the stuff isn't meaningless either. It does say something. And so as we come to the end of this preseason, one more game left after the Magic's win over the Miami Heat on Sunday. We now have 3 games of watching this Magic team, of a public display of what the Magic are trying to do. And we all know what the big issue is. Yes, the Magic have not been like a fully operational battle station except for Friday against Philadelphia. But we know what the Magic need to do. They need to score. They need to score more points. They need to be more efficient on offense. They need to make shots. They need to do all these things. And the Magic know that even though adding Desmond Bane would be a big boost to all this, they needed something more than just to add the shooter to make the whole thing work. They added a shooter last year. It didn't work. They need a change of mindset. And so throughout this training camp, throughout the time since the Magic got together on the floor, they have made it abundantly clear that their goal is to play faster, want to move the ball, want to get out and transition more, want to take advantage of the offense that their defense should be creating, the opportunities their defense is creating. They want their defense to be the base of everything, but they know that you can't win in this league at any level, even with an elite defense, if your offense just isn't going to score. And so what we have seen this preseason, what we have seen the Magic do is try to make, I don't know if it's a radical transformation of their offense, but certainly a radical transformation of their mindset, of the way that they are attacking this season. The Magic's offense has been good in the preseason. Here comes your fun with preseason stats. The Orlando Magic scored 120 points against the Miami Heat. They scored 62 points in the first half. They came out of this game with a 116. Let me make sure I have my numbers right here. So excuse me for double checking my numbers here. A 116.5 offensive rating. 116.5 with their main starters and minus Paolo, minus Desmond Bane. For the preseason so far, the Magic are 4th in the league in offensive rating at 119.9 points per 100 possessions. Now, that's not going to last. We'll talk a little bit later about where the problem spots are and why that number may not be fully accurate. But the Magic's offense is different. It is undeniable that the Magic's offense is different. They are doing something different. Something that means something. Something that matters. And the question is, will this last into the regular season? Is this something that can stick? Now, I'm not convinced the Magic will be top 4 in the league in offensive rating. There's still a lot of things struggle with. And again, we're going to talk about one of those big struggles and one of the big areas the Magic need to continue to improve on here in just a moment. I'm not going to ignore the issues. But I do believe that the Magic are on the right track with what they're doing. And I do believe there is something that feels very real about the way the Magic are playing. The pace, the intensity, the speed at which they're playing. Yes, they're making mistakes. Again, I want to talk about those in a minute. But they are a different team on offense. They are taking advantage of their strengths, of these jumbo-sized playmakers that they have, and trusting them and empowering them to lead and attack. They are going to be a better offensive team. And yes, it's because they have more talent. Desmond Bane is a huge addition. You don't know what this team looks like with Jalen Suggs. Tyus Jones, maybe not doing the things that we want him to do statistically, but he has been a stabilizing force for this team and has done very well. It does feel very much like this offense is real. That this offense, again, not going to be top of the league, not the best offense in the league, but it does feel very much like there are concepts within this offense and things that the Magic are doing that are going to translate and are going to deliver the Magic the results that they're looking for, the things that they are looking to accomplish. And that is a huge piece of this puzzle. That is a huge, huge, huge step for a team that, we all know these numbers, was 27th in league in offensive rating last year, has not been outside the bottom 10 in defensive rating since 2012 when Dwight Howard was on the team. It doesn't have to be very much, but the Magic do seem like they have taken a big step. And again, Sunday's game, for whatever a preseason game is worth, continues that pattern, continues that trend. All of these games, all 3 of these preseason games, have followed a similar pattern. When the Magic are aggressive, getting downhill, not turning the ball over, again, we'll talk about that in a minute, moving the ball, they are pretty darn unstoppable. They are taking advantage of the strengths on this team. The Magic aren't even shooting well yet. Orlando shot only 32.5%, 13 for 40 from 3 in this game. They're not even shooting well yet. And they're already scoring a ton of points. Everyone on this roster can feel that it's different. Everyone on this roster acknowledges, like, no, we're scoring. We're doing things on offense. It's different. And they're embracing this identity. I do think the Magic's offense has taken a step. I don't want to say a leap because I don't know how good it's going to be. And look, we haven't seen this team at full strength. Paolo, Franz, and Dez played together in Friday's game against Philadelphia, and they did some good things, but they also had their struggles. They still got to learn how to play together, and hopefully they'll all play Thursday. And certainly, it doesn't feel like Paolo and Franz especially are like turning the gear all the way up. We're going to talk about that when we get to the box score. When we talk about Franz's game. That doesn't feel like they have completely taken over. It feels like they're looking to just get a feel for where their spots are going to be, where their teammates are going to be, and they're trying to overpass a little bit. But If the Magic's goal this season was to improve their offense, improve their offensive mindset, it sure feels like they have. But it has not been all roses. As good as the offense has looked, as good as things appear to be, there are some warning signs, some red flags to be concerned about. We'll talk about those red flags coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Again, check out the Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Like I mentioned, the Orlando Magic are currently 4th in the league in offensive rating for the entire game. I make that caveat, and we'll get to why. A 119.9 offensive rating is insanely good. So the Magic are scoring a lot of points. I mean, they've had no problem scoring, and they've dominated fourth quarters. Fortunately, the fourth quarters are all E10 and two-way guys. We're going to talk a little bit about them towards the end of the show. So this is the red flag. It's not that the Magic's offense is much worse. It's still better than it was last year. But in the first half of games, when we know that starters and regular rotation players and roster players are playing, the Magic have only a 110.6 offensive rating. That puts them at like 14th, 15th, 16th. They're like right in the middle of the league. Or they might even be 20th. They're in like the teens. And that's with their star players in there. Now, there have been good moments. Like, I'm not sitting here like touting the offense and citing that full game stat like it's gospel. It's not. But there have been good moments that make me think, okay, that there is plenty to work with, there's plenty to build with, and there's plenty to keep growing from with this offense. But it is impossible to not acknowledge that there are red flags to be concerned about. If anything can derail this Magic team, it is their two biggest weaknesses. And two biggest weaknesses that undermine their defense. The first is fouling. Magic are a high foul team. They fouled a lot last year. That's probably not going to change significantly. The Magic are going to foul a lot. It's whether they can survive it and all that, but they're going to play physical. They're going to put teams on the line. They'll make up for it. They're going to get to the line a lot themselves because they put so much pressure on the basket. The other thing that could undermine them is turnovers. Last year, the Magic were 27th in the league in turnover rate at like 17 to 18%. Again, just 17, 18% of their possessions, they turn the ball over. If you're trying to beat the Orlando Magic, last year especially, if you're trying to beat the Orlando Magic, your strategy is to make their offense beat themselves. You force turnovers, you get out in transition, you don't have to face the set defense. You don't have to face the number 2 defense in the league. And everybody tried this strategy. It's the biggest thing the Magic feared in the series against Boston Celtics was Boston being able to get out in transition, spray out to three-point line, the Magic not being able to set their defense and set what they're doing. Magic, I thought, did a good job in the half court against Celtics. They got in trouble for the 4, 5, 6 possessions when the Celtics got out in transition, and that's when the Celtics built their leads and Orlando struggled to fight back. That's just what happened. Orlando has struggled with turnovers in this preseason. And look, you expect some turnovers in preseason. I'm not going to freak out totally about it. You're going to make mistakes. You're given this canvas to explore a little bit. Very, very importantly, like, it looks like Franz is trying to pass to Wendell. They're all trying to throw lobs to Wendell and just get a sense of where he's at and where he's going to be, where he needs to float to. Wendell needs to know where to float to. Like, it's some of it's part of the experimenting, and you just have to expect and accept that they will make some mistakes and that they can rein it all in. That's kind of the big thing right now is, okay, which excesses are they doing that they can rein in? Ultimately, like, the reason why the Magic want to play faster is so that they can take advantage of what their defense is doing, but it means nothing if they give it back. And it's one thing to have a high turnover rate when you're not getting a lot of possessions. Because at the end of the day, like, you have fewer opportunities to score. But if you're still turning the ball over at a high rate when you are playing more possessions at a faster pace, that's more opportunities to beat your defense. And there's a reason why the Magic, with a 110.6 offensive rating in the first half, have a 112.3 defensive rating as well. And it's because they've been turning the ball over a ton. In the first half of games, just the first half of games, again, I make that denotion because we know the starters and bench players played. We're not dealing with E10 players, we're not dealing with non-roster players for the most part. Orlando's 27th in the league in the preseason with a 21.7% turnover rate. That means so far this preseason, the Magic are turning the ball over more than 1 out of every 5 possessions, like slightly more than 1 out of every 5 possessions. The Magic in Sunday's game had 20 turnovers for 27 points. It was a big factor that kept the Heat in the game. They had 12 turnovers for 17 points in the first half. So again, when we know the starters are out there, Tyus Jones even had 2 turnovers. He's been kind of turning the ball over a little bit more than we'd like to see him do so in this preseason. Overall, the Magic are 24th in the league with an 18.9% turnover rate for the game in the preseason. Again, it's preseason. You expect turnovers to be up a little bit. So not the end of the world, but something to note. The fact of the matter is, when the Magic has struggled offensively and struggled in this preseason, they've struggled against the 2 teams that they played, the 3 games that they played, it's been because they're turning the ball over and letting teams get out in transition. It's because they are giving away possessions and giving away opportunities to score. And when you're playing faster, you're giving away more of these opportunities if you're still turning the ball over at this high rate. The Magic struggled with this last year, and they're struggling with it in preseason. Now, again, preseason is a different animal, so I don't want to go crazy over it. Both Jamal Mosley and Wendell Carter acknowledge that a lot of the turnovers, they're kind of okay with. Not that they're okay with it, but they've been aggressive turnovers. They've been the team trying to make the extra pass, trying to do the extra thing, trying to just get a sense of where they're going to be. I mentioned this on Friday's episode after the game against the Sixers, that it felt like Paolo Banchero was kind of coasting through the game and just kind of figuring out his spots, but not playing with loads of intensity and loads of intention. Same thing with Franz Wagner in this game. Look, we're going to talk about what Franz did, and Franz had a very good game. But it just kind of feels like Franz is like saying, okay, I'm going to do my thing for like 3 or 4 minutes. And then the rest of the time, I'm just going to be here to pass the ball and kind of move it and just kind of get a sense of where my spots are going to be within this offense. That's okay. At the end of the day, what matters is that you're ready for Wednesday. You're ready for the game against the Heat a week from Wednesday. And I think the Magic are still kind of building themselves to that and still trying to get themselves there. But this is something to watch. This is something you need to flag. The Magic offense might be better. This piece might be really good for them. They might be taking that step. But there's still a lot to work through. And there's still this one thing that could derail the whole project. If you want to beat the Magic, don't face their defense. That means you need to force turnovers. And while, yes, the Magic are winning because right now they're like more talented. Like, their starters are winning their minutes. Like, again, I know the negative net rating for the first half, but a lot of that is how poorly the Magic played in that first game against Miami in the first half. They won the first half against the Sixers. The starters won their first half minutes against the Heat in the first game. The Magic had only deep bench guys essentially as a minus and the plus minus this game. The Magic are still winning these minutes. So I'm flagging these things. I'm telling you to be circumspect about it and to just keep an eye on it. But this is a really talented Magic team that is scoring a lot of points right now. We know the defense will get under shape. We know the defense will get ready, and we'll see what it looks like when we see it. So let's run through the box scores we always do after every game. We'll talk about Wendell Carter. We'll talk about Franz Wagner. We'll talk about Jett Howard. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you will unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel gives you so many ways to play. You can build parlays, try player props, or even follow the live lines during games. You can even bet on NBA futures. Who's going to win the championship? Who's going to win the NBA Cup? Who's going to win Coach of the Year? Who's going to win MVP? You can even get an early bet on the Orlando Magic's home opener against the Miami Heat. The Magic are favored by 8.5 after Sunday's game over the Miami Heat. There's a lot of people that are really, really high on what the Magic are doing. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Again, visit FanDuel.com, create an account, bet $5, and if your first bet wins, you will get $300 to spend across the app. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. Most people cannot name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally, feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. With Monarch, it can help you notice an inefficient investment allocation and discover forgotten 401ks from past jobs. Do not let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Organization is the first key to empowerment. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. Again, that's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. The Orlando Magic again defeat the Miami Heat 120-104. We're less caring about the score, but again, both teams were down a lot of key players. Paolo Banchero and Desmond Bane sat for the Magic. Bam Adebayo, Nikola Jovic stayed home. Bam Adebayo did not play. Neither did I'm trying to think who else was the Heat were down. Neither did Norman Powell. There it is. They were down. Everyone was kind of sitting guys out. You know, the Heat are playing it back to back. Spoelstra said after the game they had a hard practice on Saturday. Magic doing their kind of weekend, one day in between games deal. So they play each other a week from Wednesday, even though they both denied that they're trying to hide things from the other. Neither team has seen each other at full strength, so we'll get a good test next Wednesday against the Heat. But the Magic still did a lot of really good things, and we have to start with Wendell Carter. Wendell Carter scored 12 points, 10 of his 12 points in the first quarter, 5 for 8 shooting, 2 for 2 from 3. Opened the game with a 3, had another 3 in the first quarter. Dell. I mean, we've talked about this, and we'll talk more about Dell tomorrow. Dell has just been super energetic. He has been. He looks healthy. He looks athletic. He acknowledged, like, I'm feeling really good. He's just all over the place. And I think, like, the biggest thing the Magic are trying to do in this preseason is get Dell comfortable with where he needs to be and his relationship with the two stars. I think that is a huge part of what the Magic want to see. They're trying to teach Dell where to be, kind of what his reads are. And I think the Magic are purposely trying to keep him involved. You know, a lot of the Magic's turnovers, and this is throughout the 3 games, this isn't just in this game, a lot of the Magic's turnovers have been them trying to make lobs to Dell and just trying to find Dell around the basket. They've been broken up, you know, at times. They've been ill-advised passes at times, but there's, I think, definitely an emphasis to keep Wendell involved and make him a bigger part of this team and make him a bigger part of this offense than he will be in the regular season. But look, he had 20 points, 13 rebounds against the Sixers, had a really nice 12-point game in this one. He's going to do, the ball is going to find him. And when he hit that 3 on the first possession of the game, and again, just a really, like, a lot of quick decisions, quick passing, Dell made a great read. He was running a pick and roll with Franz, and he just saw Franz driving. He rolled through the paint and then slowly backpedaled out to the three-point line. That's where Franz got him, found him because Kel'el Ware was collapsing on him. That's such a huge difference. And so Dell looks really good. He's been the star of the preseason for the Magic essentially in these preseason games. Franz Wagner had his game today too. 17 points, 3 for 8 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3, 10 for 10 from the foul line. He scored 13 of his 17 points in the fourth quarter. And like I said, it just kind of felt like Franz decided, okay, for this next 3 minutes, I'm just going to shoot. I'm just going to score. I don't care what the results are. I'm just going to attack the basket. And look, Franz is good enough that when he decides to do that, he's going to do it pretty well. The shot wasn't always there. His timing on his layups have been a little bit off during the preseason, but he's getting to the line a lot more. He took a 3, comfortably took it, made it, got a spot up 3. Next 2 possessions, he tried shooting 3s again. Like the confidence is there. The results may not be, but the confidence is there, which I think is important. He said during the offseason he was going to work on his post game, showed that Eurobasket, got to see a couple post ups from him. He scored on both of them, or he made plays to get to the foul line on both of them, on all of them. I'll look at those stats a little bit later on through our friends at Synergy, but Franz was really solid and continues to be really, really solid for this team. Again, just took over in that second quarter, and that was kind of it. The way this game played out, Orlando took the lead early, looked really, really spry. Then turnovers and fouling kicked in the first quarter. Miami got back in the game. Miami led by 5 at one point, but Orlando really was in control of this game throughout, even though they were making mistakes, making these turnovers, fouling a lot. Miami had 34 free throw attempts in the game. Orlando had 38. So a lot of fouling in this game. This was a physical game. It was a foul fest game, which is what you expect, what you see in the preseason. So again, maybe not this late in the preseason. Magic do need to clean up that fouling. It is a big issue. It was a big issue last year. They're going to be a physical team. They're going to foul. The Magic acknowledge that. They don't expect the whistle to be as tight when the regular season begins, but they've got to adjust and they've got to be better at keeping teams off fouling. That's probably the biggest thing to watch when we get to Thursday's game against the Pelicans. So just something to keep an eye out for. Tristan da Silva continues his really strong preseason. 11 points, 4 for 9 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3, 7 rebounds. I just got to give Tristan all the props. He just looks confident. Like, again, we saw this in Eurobasket. Like, he was confidently shooting shots over defenders, looking for his own shot, getting to his spots, hitting that little fadeaway shot. Like, he's comfortable with that now. He's just like the difference between this year and last year is he's aggressive enough and confident enough to go get his own shot. And look, I don't want him like over dribbling. He's not doing that. That's not his style, but he's just been solid. He's been such a solid player for this team. And, look, I think he's gone from, he can be a really nice rotation player to he's going to win the Magic playoff game. Like, there's going to be a game in the playoffs, like a game 4 in a series where he's going to hit 3 or 4 threes. And that's going to give the Magic the lead on the road, or give the Magic the lead when they need it, the lift when they need it to win a critical game. Like, I'm that confident in Tristan at this point. He played fantastic at Eurobasket. It's carried over into this part of the regular season. Coming off the bench, Jase Richardson continues his really nice preseason. 13 points, 4 for 12 shooting, 2 for 5 from 3, 3 for 4 from the foul line. This was probably Jase's worst game of the preseason, which is, again, saying something. He struggled a little bit in the first half, hit 2 threes to open the second half, really started to break that game open. Orlando won the third quarter, 29-22, to get some distance. They were up by 7, so they go up 4. They double their lead in the third quarter, built as much as a 24-point lead in this game. Jase gave that bench group a lot of energy. But like the biggest thing I would say is just like, Jase is a fighter, man. Like, look, this wasn't the most efficient game for him. I think, one of the things in his draft process and on his draft profile is that he's one of the best finishers at the rim in the entire college basketball, especially for someone at his height. And the question was whether that would translate into the NBA. And I would say, like, he hasn't gotten that timing down right. I don't want to say it hasn't translated yet. He's learning how to finish at the NBA, but that dude, he could miss a shot. He's going to come right back. He could fall down, get knocked to the floor. He's going to come right back. There's a moment in the third quarter where he got hit, fell to the floor. He got the foul, fell to the floor. And for a few possessions, he was grabbing his back. He was just holding his lower back. But that dude was unafraid to go at it again and stay in it. And like, look, half the battle with his height is just that willingness to get up, to the toughness to say, you can hit me, I'm not going to back down. Jase Richardson has that. Jase has that in him. And he's shown that in these 3 preseason games. Like, I don't know what his role is ultimately going to be. I think he's still got work to do to be at the level the Magic need him to be at, as exciting as he's been. But like, he's got that it factor. He's got that intangible factor that you need to have. Another guy to note who's really impressive, and I want to talk more about him tomorrow. And we talked a little about him last week as well. Jett Howard. Jett Howard had 11 points, 3 for 6 shooting, 2 for 4 from 3, 3 for 3 from the foul line, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Used his fouls. Got a block as well. Look, Jett has struggled in his first 2 seasons. And like, he needs to show up. And for the second straight game, he was the first guy off the bench. Now, certainly some of that has to do with who was absent, and I don't know what his role in the rotation has been. But while I don't think he's a good defender necessarily yet, he has shown fight. He has really grown on that end of the floor. He grew last year on that end of the floor, but he has really taken another step defensively over the offseason. If that shot is there, if that 3-point shot is there, and he's been the most reliable 3-point shooter for the team in the preseason, he is someone you have to consider getting playing time to. Now, I don't know how that's going to work. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he's guaranteed to be in the rotation. But I've gone from like, Jett's a break glass in case of emergency guy to, you know what, let's throw him in there and see what it looks like. Let's give him that chance. And I think the fact that he's been first off the bench in both of these games, the fact that like Franz singled him out as a guy who's played really well in camp and taken a big leap, to me, that says that, you know what, Jett deserves another look. And he's played great in the preseason. I've loved everything he's done in all 3 of these games. I think he's been more productive offensively against the back end bench guys, but he's making his impact felt in other ways. And I think that's really, really important for him and this team. Not a lot else to report. Anthony Black had 9 points. Noah Penda had 7 on 3 for 10 shooting. Getting my first like live look at Penda, he's going to do things. Like, he's not NBA ready. He's got a lot of work to do. Just fine tune some things. He's going to get a lot better this year. But he just makes things happen. Like, you feel his presence on the floor. It's not just like he's a big dude and you can't avoid not seeing him, but you feel his presence out there. He gets steals. He makes plays on defense. He's comfortable handling the ball. He's not afraid to shoot. Maybe he should be, but he's not afraid to shoot. But Penda, they have something in Penda. It's not ready. It's not fully cooked. Keep it in the oven. Let it marinate a little bit. And I think the Magic will have something. I've been impressed with Penda throughout the preseason, but watching him play live, like, you see just the little things that he's doing and that, like, he wants to be involved. Like, he gets a little over here, as all rookies do, but he's going to be able to do things. And like, look, if the Magic need to play him for a few spot minutes, like, he's going to do something. He's not going to just sit idly by and be ignored. He's going to make things happen. I want to make sure I give a shout out to the two-way and E10 guys. I've been super impressed with Jamal Cain in all 3 games. Good scorer, good shooter, solid defender. Like, just the whole group. Osceola's gonna have a great team. If you want to go to the G League, the Osceola Magic are gonna be a great team. They just fight. They play so hard, and that's half the battle. And the Magic, look, won the game in Puerto Rico against Miami because that E10 group played so well. They destroyed the Sixers in the 4th quarter. They won their minutes and played really well in this game. I love Orlando Robinson. He throws his body around. He kind of knows exactly what his limitations are, and plays to them and plays through them and makes things happen. Colin Castleton, like, he had to play the night with that dunk at the end of the 3rd quarter. Colin Castleton is an NBA player. Like, back into bench, back rotation guy. He's an NBA player. He's going to be on a 10-day the moment that those become available. The fact that he's going to have to spend the year in Osceola and probably play a little bit behind Orlando Robinson at times. That dude is an NBA player. So really fun watching him play. Made some great plays. Got to play with Goga Bitadze for an extended time, which is interesting to say the least. It didn't stink. Goga, that was the lineup to get Goga shooting. Goga's willing to shoot, not making any shots at the NBA level quite yet. But I've been impressed with all the Magic's E10 and 2-way guys. They've played really, really well, and they've delivered for the Magic. The Orlando Magic shoot 39.4%. So not a great shooting game, but they get 23 offensive rebounds. They score 29 second chance points. It's 8 for 21 on second chance points. So plenty to clean up offensively. There are a lot of points left on the board offensively, which is the scary part of how good the Magic's offense has been. They're leaving points on the board as well with turnovers, with all this stuff. They have 13 fast break points, get a lot of fouls out of that. They convert 17 points off of 15 Miami turnovers. So the Magic are doing good things on that front. It's just a lot of it can continue to get better and be more efficient and all that jazz. So we'll see what the Magic do. They hold Miami to 9 for 33 from three, 38.5% shooting overall. They give up 14 offensive rebounds, a lot of that in the first half, but the Magic cleaned that up. When the Magic's half-court defense was set, like, they still play Magic defense. They fouled a little too much, but, like, they're still energetic. They're still a tough defensive team. It's there. I'm not worried that it's going to be there. I'm just a little worried about, the offense not quite being in form and putting the defense in some compromising positions. But the Magic will do enough. I think if there's one takeaway from the preseason so far, the Magic will do enough that they'll give themselves a chance. It would take a really good team, and the Magic haven't played a really good team in this preseason, obviously. It will take a really good team to take advantage of some of the Magic's mistakes at this point. The Magic defeat the Miami Heat 120-104. They will close their preseason Thursday against the New Orleans Pelicans. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. You can find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the Fun Stay Alone podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can check us out on YouTube as well. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my daily newsletter, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're done making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day, go make your second listen, the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league, all while making you a smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I'm picking up the jersey Wednesday, Josh, so I will get that to you as soon as I can. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. On tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic, we'll talk about the standouts from camp. That's Wendell Carter. That's Jett Howard. Maybe a little Tristan da Silva, although we talked about both Jett and Tristan a little bit last week. We'll get to some camp standouts on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.